needs, so how we go about it. So I think we had that discussion. Okay. So I think I need a volunteer to read now. We'll begin the next paragraph. I think it's according to the nature's arrangement. That's where we stop. Okay. I think we discussed that. I think next paragraph. Yeah.
I can read.
Okay. Yeah.
Collecting and eating more than necessary also causes prayas or unnecessary endeavor. By God's arrangement, anyone in any part of the world can live very peacefully if he has some land and a milk cow. There is no need for man to move from one place to another to earn a livelihood, for one can produce food grains locally and get milk from cows. That can solve all economic problems. Fortunately, man has been given higher intelligence for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness, for the understanding of God, one's relationship with Him, and the ultimate goal of life, love of God. Unfortunately, so called civilized man, not caring for God's civilization, utilizes his intelligence to get more than necessary and simply eats to satisfy the tongue. By God's arrangement, there is sufficient scope for the production of milk and grains for human beings all over the world. But instead of using their higher intelligence to cultivate God consciousness, so-called intelligent men misuse their intelligence to produce many unnecessary and unwanted things. Thus, factories, slaughterhouses, brothels, and liquor shops are opened. If people are advised not to collect too many goods, eat too much, or work unnecessary to possess artificial amenities, they think they are being advised to return to a primitive way of life. Generally, people do not like to accept plain living and high thinking. That is their unfortunate position.
Okay. So here, the second, actually, the point, the prayas, So as in a translation says that actually it's kind of it's given that over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Okay, so that's what we call prayas. So prayas mean over endeavoring, right? So here Srila Prabhupada is saying that collecting or eating more than necessary also causes a prayas or unnecessary endeavor. By God's arrangement, anyone in any part of the world can live peacefully if he has some land and a milk cow, right? So, Srila Prabhupada is saying that actually the atyahar, right? So eating more than necessary or collecting uh, more than what we need, right, for our actually sustenance. So as we discuss that atyahar can have actually, it's just not about actually the ahar or just relate to the food. It relate to all the actually objects of the senses, right? So we're collecting more money. Some people maybe actually they're more interested in knowledge, so and they're studying many other materialistic, things. Some people are they are very much attached to actually having so many different qualifications. So they keep studying and actually keep acquiring many qualifications. So some people maybe actually there is also tendency called hoarding, so collecting many different material things for the sense gratification. They fill their house with different things. So so all those things are just not really required, for our actually survival or even actually to become a god conscious. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying that anyone who has just a piece of land and a cow, he can have a peaceful life. So that is a Vedic way of life. So Srila Prabhupada says that just to maintain ourselves in this material world, so the basic necessities of life, they should not come at a very great effort. You know, we should not be actually putting so much effort, so engaging so much of our time in just earning the bread, right? So Srila Prabhupada has already, he explained very nicely that actually there is a enough amount of actually means the capacity in this actually material world that can produce enough food for everyone, and they can have all their actually basic necessities met with a little bit of effort. So Srila Prabhupada gave the example that in Vedic ways, The people normally, they only actually used to work hard during 3 months of rainy season. So that is for the Vaishya farmer, you know. So they used to actually engage in actually, sowing and actually cultivating and, growing crops for 3 months. And after that, once they have the produce, rest of the 9 months, they actually have more than enough time. So they can actually devote it for the devotional service. So that was a Vedic way of life. But Srila Prabhupada, he said, in today's world, we have actually we have made ourselves very busy, with all the actually materialistic activities that is not really required. So we are working very hard, especially in today's world, we are working at minimum 9 to 10 hours in our actually material jobs. So you may be in actually IT field or whatever field you're working. Especially in India, there is always a lot of pressure to work more and more. Even there is actually one of the CEO of the really well-known company. He said that young people should be working at least 12 hours, right? Something like that. So even when I read that, actually, I was surprised and I said, how is that possible? One need to have actually work-life balance. So, but for even devotee, we need to have just not just work-life balance. We need to have actually balance between how much time we actually allocate for earning our bread, or also how much time we allocate for our family, and how much time we allocate for our spiritual advancement. There has to be perfect balance. So Srila Prabhupada, as he said, that the life necessity should not come at a great effort. So that will lead to the prayas or over endeavoring. So even actually the example given here, actually the cow and the land, So yes, I think there was actually a lot of discussion in our programs as well, few years back, that is it really possible to live like that. So yes, it is possible. I have seen myself in India. Actually, I am from the farmers family. So in the olden days, not so far, actually people used to have their own land. They used to grow food grains, they used to have cattle for the milk. So most of the actually necessities, the food and all that actually is coming from the field, and you also have barter system that actually you can exchange, the vegetables and grains with other farmers. So as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, 3 to 4 months, you're maybe busy, but rest of the actually year, you have enough time for the spiritual advancement. But now, because of the atyahar, atyahar leads to the prayas. Because we are actually working very hard to just to have some materialistic object that will satisfy our senses. For example, maybe just a cell phone, right? So just to get the cell phone, sometimes people work very hard, even actually, especially that iPhone. I heard some stories in India that actually people are putting most of their income just buying the phone, right? Is that really necessary? Or you have to actually put so much effort? So that's not actually going to actually provoke attraction for the Supreme God, right? It's just actually sense gratification. So one has to actually, Srila Prabhupada said that actually just live with the bare necessities of a life and actually devote the rest of the time for God realization. So this is actually Vedic instruction. So one should lead life like that. So that will ultimately actually will have enough time for the actually self-realization. So even means some may say that actually even Srila Prabhupada says that statement, right? If you ask people, if people are advised not to collect too many things, or eat too much or work unnecessary to possess artificial amenities, they think that they're being advised to return to a primitive way of life, right? So people say that they can't live like they actually whatever you call jungle man. So so that's up to us, how much energy we want to actually put in. Even actually means we are all doing jobs, material jobs, everyone has different qualification, they're working in different field, but how much actually we are involved in that job and how much time we're actually keeping it aside is very, very important, right? So means we have been actually taught, in this program that if you're going there for 9 to 5 job, you just do a job and get out of there. Uh, as His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj says that everyone has to retire every day. So in the evening, you should retire from our materialistic activities. So that means you should not bring your work to the home, or you should not actually waste time just doing some family activities that is not going to really that is not really necessary, or and that's not going to actually help you progress on this devotional service. Actually the next point will come, the prajal, that's where we discuss how one should use their time, because we do so many things which are not really going to help, even your actually material advancement, there are so many impediments because people have actually tendency to procrastinate, waste time. So Srila Prabhupada, what he said that actually, yes, generally people they do not accept plain living and high thinking, right? So even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that devotee should have very simple clothing, should accept only simple ahar, whatever dal and rice and whatever it is, So if you actually desire for opulent food or opulent living or higher standard of life, then obviously you have to work very very hard, right? To actually to earn that kind of money to maintain your actually lifestyle. So you will be actually putting so much effort and time. So you will not have a time left, for your spiritual realization. So one of the actually reason or sometimes excuse that we hear that I don't have time, when we ask actually when you're preaching and we ask people to chant, they say, oh, not possible, I will not have 2 hours just dedicated for chanting, we are so busy with our work and family. But actually this is means we know, we understand, because when you are not in this line of devotion, you are just actually doing material activities, then still people are actually always busy, it's not like that they have a lot of time. They're always busy with something, especially in India. Means I have seen, you have to go to the marriage, you have to go to this function, that function, So you're always invited to here or there, and again you are spending time with your friends, you're watching television, you're watching sports, you're watching, so many things, you're always actually engaged in materialistic activities. But that will always keep you actually in the uh, it's called karma bandhana. You're always entrapped in actually this materialistic life. You will take birth, you will again die, again rebirth. So that is going on. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, one has to actually make an effort that they have to actually design their life in such a way that there is enough time left for a spiritual advancement. So, so this is actually the main point from this paragraph. Srila Prabhupada is saying that actually the atyahar leads to the prayas. So if you keep our actually necessities, less, then you don't really have to put so much effort. And again, over endeavoring could be different for everyone, right? So according to his own karmas, everyone is born in a different situation, right? Somebody will born in a rich family, they may already have all those facilities, but they do not have to work hard to maintain that, right? So if somebody is doing a job, they're earning maybe say $100,000. So buying a house, actually good standard house and paying the mortgage may not be very difficult for him. He may not get that much anxious or do not have to put that much effort. So he can maintain his lifestyle and will still have enough time. But if somebody is not earning to that level, then you have to actually manage your expectations to what degree you want to push yourself. So if you have to actually, that means that actually earning a lot of money means engaging so much of your time. Then you have to actually learn to be satisfied with whatever you have. So that's what Guru Maharaj say. That try to teach people to become satisfied with what they have. You know so we should not actually encourage, actually to work things that are very difficult to obtain, right? So so this is actually means the main actually takeaway here. Okay, we'll continue. I think there's one more point, right? So Srila Prabhupada is say that man has given the higher intelligence for cultivation of Krishna consciousness, but he's using his intelligence in an incorrect way, right? So intelligence is given for actually human being, so he can use that intelligence and actually inquire about a supreme truth, aham brahmasmi. So, oh sorry, actually I turned off the video by accident, I guess. Sorry devotees, I think I have technical problem, is can't access your camera, please refresh. Okay, so I didn't turn it off, I think it went off by itself. Okay. Let me try that again. I think there is some technical issue that is not allowing me to use my camera. Just give me a moment, I'll refresh my screen. Okay. Yeah, my apologies. I think there is some technical issue with my laptop. Okay, can you hear it? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. So we were discussing the man is given a higher intelligence, so for cultivation of Krishna consciousness. But we are actually not using that intelligence for spiritual progress, right? We are actually using the intelligence to create so many unnecessary things. So yeah, as you can see, there are many things are being invented in today's world, right? Just for our comfort, so we can actually become happy. So we do not know we are really becoming happy, or we are actually increasing our problems day by day. Because by improving standard of life, I do not think that we can become happy. So unless we are on a right path to become God conscious, it's very hard to become permanently happy in this material world. So that will be explained in the next paragraph, when we actually refer to the Srimad Bhagavatam verse. So the main purpose of actually higher intelligence, so we can realize the ultimate purpose of our life. So to become actually to become Krishna conscious and develop a love, true love for Krishna. So that is a real purpose. Okay. Let me share a screen. So, oh,
Hare
uh,
Krishna, Prabhuji. I had one
yes,
question.
yes.
So like I understand that this is for us, right? That like we should keep our necessities to a bare minimum, and it's just it's not returning to a primitive way of life. It's just keeping our like life simple, simple living and high thinking, as Prabhupada says. Uh, but how? What if like our family members want to live like an indulgent lifestyle? Should we uh, if there are people who are under our care or dependent on us, then we will have to, should we cater to that? Or the second thing is that, like, even in today's world, even to get to people, get your kids through college education, suppose, it has become so expensive that you have to work hard for it. Like, I have so many relatives who are, both of the parents are working really hard. They're living abroad, and so they're working hard just to get their kids through college, and it's like a lot of hard work that goes into it, and that's just like the bare minimum, right, to get your kids through education. How about all the other things that your family is depending on you? So even if ourselves we keep our necessities to a bare minimum, what if we have dependents on us and their requirements are such that need us to work hard, and that takes a lot of our time?
Yes, Mataji, that's a very good question, practical question. Everyone has those questions, and actually, the over endeavoring, right? So, the definition, even I did ask that question to Amrish Prabhu, when we studied this. So, the definition of over endeavoring, over endeavor here. So, is that says that how we know we are over endeavoring. So at that time, the answer was anything that take you away from Krishna. That will be actually uh, or endeavor. So any activity that you perform, if it's not leading you towards Krishna, you're taking you away from Krishna. So that is over endeavor. Okay, and one of the Srimad Bhagavatam verse actually there is a specifically actually mentioned that point. So Amrish Prabhu also said that you could earn $1 million. You can have actually travel by helicopter if you like. There is no harm as long as you can become a Krishna conscious. And you still remain detached. So there are many examples even from the actually Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many pastimes of various kings. So they were actually even Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was a king of entire Bharatvarsh. So they may be living opulent, but they were still very pious king. They were very Krishna conscious, and to that degree they must be very detached as well. If they are actually very pious and pure devotee, means definitely they're not attached to materialistic things. Even Vrishab Maharaj, Vrishab Dev, he was a king, right? So he waited until all his actually the son they grow up, and they can actually take care of themselves and their actually family members. Then he actually give up everything. So even he was such a great king. So he lived actually that actually lifestyle as well at the time, but he was not attached, right? When there was time for actually to give up and actually go to the next stage. So he did it very easily. There was no attachment. So when you talk about actually, over endeavoring, then whatever is necessity for the actually family, you have to do it. But actually, we need to actually, we have to actually find a way. Actually, are we, still have the enough time, right? For actually enough time for cultivate our actually Krishna consciousness. So it could be different, situation for everyone, because I still mention, it could be different for everyone. And this is a very hard question to answer, especially, to live just with the bare necessities of a life, So this is not maybe actually, the uh, once you actually, advance on this path, then you should aim for this, stage that you can able to live with the bare necessities. So even Maharaj, actually, as Amrish Prabhu always mentioned that, he always lived, in a very simple lifestyle. He was even sleeping on actually the bed that was not very opulent, right? Even, one of the leg was broken, and still he was using that. So at that advanced stage, he was totally detached from all these materialistic things, So he was not actually looking for comfort, comfortable lifestyle. But when Maharaj was a grahast, he was living in London, so probably, they have enough, they are actually from the very good family, Vaishnava family. And Maharaj said that actually I took sannyas when my plate was full. So everything was there, family was there, maybe even actually material opulence was there. But actually, when you actually, training yourself or actually progressing, so you have to make sure that yes, if you even if you're earning a lot of money, then actually you have to engage that somehow in a Krishna service. That's what we call a yukta vairagya, right? So Amrish Prabhu did mention that, even actually money is coming by the grace of the Lord. Do not become actually attached. Actually, this point will come in that actually next verse when we discuss that. Even you are in that occupation, highest occupational service of serving the Krishna. So even actually the opulence will come, may come with the grace of the Lord. Still, you should not engage that actually opulence or money to cultivate the sense gratification for your actually just enjoying it, yourself. Just try to satisfy your own senses. So it should be used in Krishna's service. Okay, but I think I still want you to, Mataji, pose this question because Amrish would, I think he could be able to answer that, in a better way. And it is actually a question for everyone. Even, so many devotees ask that question. How can we live just with the bare necessities of life? So maybe at what stage, and how? Probably Amrish will answer it in a more structured way. Okay.
But
Thank you,
also,
Prabhuji. Thank you so
sorry,
much.
today's class of Maharaj will twist it a bit more. It's a little twister class today. So the same point, it'll be, I think, once you listen to the class, then overall we'll be answering all the things together. So it will help everybody, probably. Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I need permission to share a screen.
I already given you your co-host already.
Yes, it was there, Prabhuji. I think there are some technical issues, so I was logged off for a couple of.
Oh, you log back again. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, prayas. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. Continue the reading.
Human life is meant for God realization, and the human being is given higher intelligence for this purpose. Those who believe that this higher intelligence is meant to attain a higher state should follow the instructions of Vedic literatures. By taking such instructions from higher authorities, one can actually become situated in perfect knowledge and give real meaning to life. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Verse 9, Sri Suta Goswami describes the proper human dharma in this way. Dharmasya hapavargasya नार्थो अर्थायुपकल्पते नार्थस्य धर्मकान्तस्य कामो लोभात् Kamolabhaya vismrita. All occupational engagements, dharma, are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service, dharma, should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification.
Okay. Right. Okay. Here, so Srila Prabhupada says that human life is meant for God realization, right? And higher intelligence is given for this purpose. So, who believe that higher intelligence is meant to attain higher stage should follow the instruction of the Vedic literature. By taking instruction from higher authorities, one can actually become situated in perfect knowledge. So here, the reference of actually Srimad Bhagavatam verse is given. Dharmasya hi apavargasya narto arthayopakalpate narthasya dharmaya kantasya kamo labhaya hi smritaha. So all occupational engagement, dharma, are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. So here, the occupational engagements, is called a dharma. So I think we had this discussion before. What is the meaning of a dharma, right? So there are different definitions. One of the definition of a dharma, as in one of, I think I still remember the discussion from our class that for the purpose for which one comes into existence, can be called, that is his dharma. So the example was given like a sugar, to taste sweet. So to taste sweet is a dharma, of a sugar, or salt, to taste salty. So if you take that purpose away, then it loses its identity. Okay. So for example, if sugar does not taste sugar, will you call it a sugar? Uh, so it's losing its purpose, identity, right? So this is one of the definitions. So for living entity, so our actually constitutional position is we are eternal servant of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is our actually dharma, right? So as we discussed many times, living entity is actually he's a servant and always a subordinate to the Supreme. So his business is to render the service to the Supreme. And we discussed that actually even in the previous verse, the actually this I think there was some actually instructions, you must have already discussed that uh, you had to render a service, so that is our natural, position, that living entity is always serving Krishna, and when we actually do that, then we naturally become happy because we are actually acting as per our swabhava, our natural propensity. But in material world, actually when we born, we forget this, we forget Krishna, so we are not serving Krishna. But still, our dharma is to serve, so we are serving something else other than Krishna, right? So we discussed that, that you already know this point, that if you're not serving Krishna, you might be serving yourself, you are serving your family, you are serving your children, you are serving your material possessions. So be it your, actually your house, your car, all those things, So somehow you are actually always engaged in serving someone. Even Srila Prabhupada says that even if you are actually king, of a nation, you still have to actually render a service. You cannot actually not do so. So what in whatever position you are, that actually this actually the basic, natural inclination, So because this is our dharma, to serve. So this is one of the actually definition. And the second here is occupational engagement. And Srila Prabhupada say that actually the meaning here, the root meaning of the actually religion is to actually sustain. Where is that? Actually sustain one's existence, actually. So anything that actually helping you to actually, remain, actually sustain your existence is also called a dharma. So here is a dharmasya hi apavargasya. So all occupational engagements, are meant for ultimate liberation. So our occupational engagement, they should lead to the liberation. So liberation from what? For the material entanglement. So this is a very important point here, because Srila Prabhupada actually means he has given very good, and big purport on this verse in one of the book, Dharma. So here where he says that actually dharmasya apavargasya, so apavargasya means ultimate liberation, so what were synonyms? He says apavargasya means ultimate liberation. So this is actually the Sanskrit term apavarga. So pavarga means actually materialistic miseries. I think we must have discussed that in past as well. So the pavarga actually, these are the actually five material actually the miseries. Srila Prabhupada actually very nicely explained that. So he actually state that the word pavarga is very significant. It's a negation of a the word apavarga is very significant. It's a negation of a pavarga, and pavarga means it indicate the five letters. Pa, pa, ba, ba, ma. Okay, so this is a Sanskrit linguistic. So the pa means parishram, right? The pa stand for parishram. So in this material world, as we discussed, that one has to work very hard to maintain his lifestyle, or he has to maintain himself and even his family. So everyone is working hard. And the next word, fa means penila. So Srila Prabhupada gives example that when you work very hard, so you're working to that extent that the actually foam comes out of your mouth. So just like actually bull, actually when the bull is actually worked in a field, so in a rain, in the sun and rain, actually he's doing very hard work, that actually the foam comes out of his mouth. We have seen it. So the example is given. So but actually even our condition is such that actually we have to work very hard to maintain ourselves. Sorry, I think my camera is again turned off, I guess. I think there is some technical problem. I do not know how to resolve it. I think we'll continue the discussion because we're just another 5 minutes. Pa, pa, ba. So the next actually is a ba means vyarthatha. So we are working very hard. So even after actually working very hard, no, so actually the ba means here it says bha means bhaya, that even after such a hard labor, in the end one get very frustrated. Ba means bhaya. So even if you work very hard, even you actually earn, maybe money or material possessions, you are always in a fear that you may lose it. So you're always actually under the anxiety how to keep all that together, or you're always worried that it might again lost. And then bha means vyarthata. That means actually the frustration. So everyone is working very hard, they're actually try to earn the materialistic actually opulences or whatever their needs are, but still you are always under fear as well that you will lose it. You are always under anxiety. So in the end you get frustrated. And the last one is a ma, that's mrityu. So at last, working very hard throughout the life, actually accumulating all these things, in the end you have to face the death, the mrityu. And at the death, then whatever, even if you accumulated vast amount of opulence, you have to actually give up everything, but no one can actually take anything with him when they die. So here, so Srila Prabhupada said these are the actually miseries of a material existence, power. So apavarg, that is ultimate liberation, is that the occupational engagement, that is dharma, that should lead to the ultimate liberation, right? So the religion, the system of religion, actually is meant that to it should lead one to the actually liberation, that is the liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So dharmasya hi apavargasya. So even next point here, they should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, one who is engaged in ultimate occupational service, dharma, should never use material gain to cultivate a sense gratification, right? So we should not actually doing this actually dharma, just to actually so that you can have some material opulence and you use it for your own sense gratification. And it is says that one who's engaged in ultimate occupational service. Okay, so it's not just saying the occupational service, the ultimate occupational service. So if you look into the actually previous verses, it says that it talks about the ultimate occupational service, and that is savai pumsa paro dharmo yathor bhakti adokshaje ahay tuki apratihata yayatma suprasiddhati. So savai pumso paro dharmo. So ultimate occupational service is a paro dharma, param dharma. So that is to actually render living devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Okay, so that is actually the meaning, and that service, it should not be actually motivated, materially motivated, and that should not be uninterrupted. So we will not go into the details, but the ultimate occupational service or the ultimate dharma, param dharma, is to render devotional, loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord, that is Lord Shri Krishna. Okay. So he should not use. So who are those people that actually we are trying to become Krishna conscious? So we want to actually become Krishna conscious. So our business is to render the service unto the Krishna. So this is instruction for the devotees that for them it's very important that even the material opulence, if that comes your way, with the grace of the Lord, you should not use that actually money or opulence just for the sense gratification, for your own pleasure or your family's pleasure, or whatever what we call is a extended sense gratification. So that should be used in the service of the Lord. Okay, so this is actually the meaning. And Srila Prabhupada, said that this verse is very, very important from Srimad Bhagavatam because it talks about the purpose of a life for a living entity. So definitely, actually, we should follow the dharma. We should engage, and it's also talk about the varnashram system. And varnashram system, depending on in which ashram you are, there are the actually prescribed duties. So if you are actually following these duties properly, then that will definitely will help you to actually progress. It will take you to the platform to the that above this actually material modes where you can actually able to render the living devotional service or pure devotional service. So we will actually continue this discussion. I think we got just 5 minutes left. Uh, so, okay, we'll stop here. Anyone has any questions, that can be answered now, or we will actually stop here and then take a couple of minutes break, and we'll come back for the next session. Anyone has any questions? Yes, Prabhuji, Om Prabhu. You are on mute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
Yes.
I had question related to the question asked by Divyanshi Mataji. Similar kind. As you answered that we will get to know that we are over endeavoring when what we are doing takes us away from Krishna. Uh, but sometimes it happens like as you mentioned, if someone is born quite rich, in a very rich family, he don't need to work very hard. And currently the situation is even for very less, we need to work very hard. Uh, Presently in India, most of the jobs. So at that time, when we do a daily sadhana, we are not able to give time to very much, like not able to read books or watch lectures daily, but at least we are good to chant. And even sometimes Aarti is not done. So, and if someone is doing this all things, because of the situation, he is born in a quite wealthy family. and another person need to work that many hours to earn, and only is doing a specific amount of sadhana, his personal sadhana. So does that also means that he's over endeavoring, and uh, that what he's doing is taking him away from Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. It's a very good question. So you're asking that, if one is actually fortunate enough to born in a rich family, so ultimately he has better facilities, so he can perform the devotional service, in a better way. But somebody who's not in actually such a fortunate position, he has to work hard and how he can actually perform his duties, right? Yes, Prabhuji, we will actually discuss. I will actually note this question as well, and when we actually begin our next section, I think we will discuss this point as well. And as Amrish Prabhu, please post this question in our intermediate class as well, because at the end of this actually text, we will go through all the questions. And the Vensh Mataji also asked that question, your question. So we'll actually try to answer those questions at the end, and Amrish Prabhu will definitely, answer everybody's question. So should be, because we don't have enough time, we'll actually take discuss on this point in the next